November 5th, about 5:45, actually 5:45 exactly, or 17:45 if you will. I am in the new apartment. We had the IKEA delivery of some of our furniture and our mattress today. That's why I came here at about noon. And they showed, like, they were supposed to be here. Okay, let's rewind a little bit, because it's been a few days since I've done a video journal. So, Friday, I want to say that was the 2nd of November, the 1st of November, 5th, Sunday was the 4th. Yeah, the 2nd of November, Friday evening, Gianni and I went to IKEA. We did some shopping for the new apartment. We got a mattress, 2 dressers, a coffee table, 2 light fixtures, a bunch of kitchen stuff, like, and pretty much most of the basic things you need for the kitchen, like plates, utensils, cooking stuff, pots and pans, other odds and ends like that. Fortunately, we were able to have it, like all the big stuff, delivered to this place, to our new place, so that way we didn't have to like awkwardly transport it from our temporary housing, which wouldn't have worked. But that means that I had to make sure I came here, because our delivery slot was for 2 to 6 in the afternoon on Monday. So I came over from the temp housing. Unfortunately, I came here early because I wanted to bring another bag of my stuff here with me, so I made sure to leave like extra early so that I wouldn't have to like worry about how long it was going to take me to walk up the street with like the extra luggage, and just get here and relax and just set up for the delivery so that they can just come in, drop it off. And they came early. They got here like I think it was like 1:30. They called at 1 and said, well, what I assume they said that they'll be here in half an hour, because they didn't speak a lot of English and I don't speak a lot of German, so that was an interesting phone conversation. Yeah, they got here by 1:30. They dropped off the stuff. I signed, they left. I stayed at this apartment for a little while I started unboxing stuff, putting stuff away. Pretty much the only thing I didn't do was set up the coffee table and the 2 dressers, because like Johnny and I were messaging and he said, well, let's do that stuff together, and honestly, like, they're big enough pieces of furniture that it'll just be easier with somebody to help me. But the easy stuff, like, so we didn't actually get a mattress, like a bed frame, because they didn't have the bed frames that we wanted in stock. So we just have the mattress, so I just unrolled it and like unpackaged it and made the bed with our new sheets and everything, which is pretty cool. It looks like, I mean, my bedroom's just slapped together, but it looks, just with the bed like made, it already looks like a bedroom, as opposed to just this weird empty room that doesn't really feel like it had a purpose. But now it does. And most of my stuff's just sort of haphazardly unpacked and piled on the floor. What else? The kitchen's great, because the kitchen was easy, because it was all things that I could just unpackage and just put away into like to drawers and stuff, and like it's just functional as is. So like Gianni's gonna come by after work. Hopefully he should be home. He's gonna go pick up some groceries after work, and he's gonna come here, and we're gonna cook our first meal here, and we're gonna put together the stuff we have to put together, and then we're actually gonna go back to the temporary housing tonight. Even though we have the bed and it's all set up here, just because Simba's still at the temporary housing, and I mean, he'd probably have to feed him at 8 o'clock anyway, and I mean, even if I went back and did that, he'd probably be fine in theory on his own, but, you know, I feel bad. He was alone for 10 days. I mean, he had the babysitters, the cat sitters. It's not a baby, he's a cat. The cat sitters come by to, like, look after him, but I think he's been a little anxious, like, since then. Every time we go out for a little while, and especially when we leave, like, with baggage to bring here, when we come back, he's always a little, like, very little bit of separation anxiety there. But so I'm not gonna leave him alone overnight, even if he was in theory like physically fine. I just feel bad. He's been through enough stuff in the last few months. But we're gonna bring him over tomorrow. So we're gonna sleep over. We're gonna sleep at the temporary housing tonight. Johnny will go to work. I might see what I can do about bringing stuff here anyway while he's at work. But in theory, we should only have one load left to do tomorrow. And since then, I brought my big blue suitcase today. That actually greatly reduces how much we have to bring, because that was going to be a pain in the ass to lug down the road with everything else and a Simba. It should pretty much just be like we each have a bag of stuff and Simba that we're bringing tomorrow, and that'll be it. I think that's pretty ideal, to be honest. Especially because whenever I've tried this in the past with the whole, like, we have an overlap with, like, 2 apartments and trying to, like, slowly bring stuff over, it's never worked. You know, we might bring a few things over, but then it's, like, the last couple days, and it's, like, a little bit of a panic. It's like, oh my god, we have a couple of days left to bring over the rest of the apartment. So it's good that it actually worked this time. But I mean, it's not a surprise. Gianni is very goal-oriented. He's really good at, like, once he puts his mind to something, he will continue to, like, work at it chunk by chunk until it's finished, which is really great because that's something I've struggled with. I'm definitely, like, a binger. When I find a task I want to do, I just binge it until it's done, which is a twofold problem because it means I end up getting burnt out usually on that task, and I don't want to do it anymore. And not only that, but then after, I'm like, because I didn't take adequate breaks, I didn't space it out, I just don't even want to do any work for a little bit, because I'm just like, okay, I just spent the last, like, however many hours just working on that one thing. I don't even want to look at other work, even though I probably should be doing other work. Not good. Also, it tends to mean that I will procrastinate because I have this mindset that once I sit down to do something, I need to see it through to the end, which means that, you know, procrastinate, because who the hell wants to do that? I don't know. For some reason, I do, because I keep doing it, even though I know it causes me these problems. Are they able to make tea? Because brought over I had the David's Tea travel mugs that I had made sure to pack and bring with me from Canada, so they were actually already in my luggage. So I made sure to, like, unpack those. I didn't bother unpacking these in the temporary housing because we had tea mugs. But when we got here, I made sure to unpack them because we didn't buy tea mugs, or coffee mugs, or whatever you want to call them. And today I made sure to bring, like, bags of tea, and we don't have a teapot, but we do have the, like, whatever pots, like saucepans. So I just boiled water in that and carefully pouring in the water into my teacup to make tea. So that's been great because I needed tea, and I wasn't sure if I was going to be here for, like, the 4-hour block, because usually that's what happens when they give you those 4-hour, 5-hour windows, is that you're there the whole time waiting. And when they came before the window even started, I was like, well, now what do I do with myself? That's why I unpacked most of the IKEA stuff already. I probably would have done the drawers, the dressers, and the coffee table too if it hadn't been for the fact that I kind of know it might be a little bit of a pain in the ass to do on my own. And it's not a lot. The table shouldn't take us too long, and together the dressers won't take us long either. And so after I've actually made multiple trips today, because after I finished setting stuff up here, and I was like, okay, other than those things, what do I have to do here? And I had already had like 2 cups of tea, listened to like a whole bunch of podcasts. Like I probably listened to like 5, 6 podcasts, maybe, probably more actually. I've lost track at this point. There's a couple things that we don't have here that's at the temporary house that we'll want if we're having dinner here tonight, like soap. We didn't have any like either hand soap or dish soap, which we'll probably want. I mean, remember to bring the toilet paper, which is good. We needed that toilet paper. What else? I also got our garbage bags. We didn't have any here. Stuff like that. Made sure I gave Simba lots of pets. Oh, and I got snacks because I forgot, I wanted to leave early, so I didn't eat lunch before coming here. And of course, we don't really have food here, so once delivery happened and I set up a bunch of stuff, I'm like, okay, I'm starving and I can't wait till like 6, 7-ish, maybe later o'clock to eat dinner. So along with going to pick up other things, I had an apple and I'm like, yeah, that's all I really want to do, because we didn't really even have a lot of food that I could just eat at the temp housing. There's not like most of what's left there is stuff that like kind of has to be cooked. There isn't really any like easy snack food. It's all like shit, and I really don't feel like cooking right now. I just wanted to go back to the new place so that I could like just finish like putting stuff together and relaxing, and get a phone call with my dad and that side of the family today, which was good. I'm trying to do, so Saturday I did video games with Lauren and Joseph. I tried to get Daniel on it, but he was asleep when I messaged him, and he didn't get back to me till like far later than we'd already finished long playing. But Lauren and Joseph and I played Stardew Valley for like almost 2 hours. That was pretty awesome. And then yesterday I did a video call with Mom, which was pretty good. She was sick, which I suspect was like a cold, and I suspect I probably gave her that cold when I was in Ottawa. Sorry, Mom. What else? And then today I did the phone call with my dad, aunt, and brother. Grandpa's still in the hospital. I mean, obviously, he only went in like a week and a bit ago, so he's gonna be in there for probably a few more weeks at least. But they're gonna go visit him today, and I told them to send him my love. So yeah, I hope he's doing well. I miss my family. We got these. I don't know where Gianni got these from. It's pretty much, I don't know, it's pretty much like granola cereal. Just been snacking on these because, like I said, all I had since breakfast was that apple. And I knew these were here, so I was like, I'll have a tea and I'll snack on these, and they're acceptable. I'm not a big fan of like dry cereal. I will eat dry cereal as like a snack. Like I said, it's okay. It's okay as dry cereal as a snack. Like, that's all I have to say about that. You know how I am with breakfasts. You know that I'm pretty like meh about cereal, dry cereal. Even, I don't know, hot cereal's a little bit better, but even then, like, I've tried hot cereals as a breakfast, and I find that I just end up, to eat enough that I actually feel full, I end up feeling bloated after, and then an hour later I'm just starving again. I'm like, well, none of that was productive. I felt awful, and now I feel awful more for a different reason. I don't know what else there is to talk about. I think I caught up on most of the things. Like I said, like the IKEA trip was the big thing, and us getting the delivery. And actually, like, sort of feeling like moved in here a little bit, as opposed to just having, you know, living at the temporary and just sort of having this empty apartment, which we've essentially had for the last week. Would show you around the apartment, but since we don't have very many lighting fixtures other than the hallway and the bathrooms and this tiny little, like, one light bulb in the kitchen, it wouldn't be very exciting because it's very dark in here right now. It's actually going to be probably kind of awkward setting up furniture and stuff tonight, because we're probably going to have to do it like right here in this hallway, like we're right by the front door. Brought my laptop with it today with the intention of like editing some of the video journals from like last week, because I thought I'd have a lot of time to kill before they came. But yeah, I had pretty much no time at all. And after they came, I was just like, well, I'll just set stuff up, and I never really got around to doing any video editing. And now that I have, like, I did my phone call with my dad's family, I'm like, okay, I have some time to kill, but I actually would rather spend it actually filming, you know, this update as opposed to doing editing, because there's all this stuff that I will want to talk about all weekend, but I feel weird about doing the video journals when Gianni's in the apartment, and I'm sure I'll get over that as I do these more. Like, this is still pretty experimental. I'm still getting used to the idea of just doing them at all. Obviously, I still feel weird about, like, people can hear me doing this, and maybe, I don't know, I shouldn't be weird about that. And I mean, if I told Gianni what I was doing, he would be like, okay, and you wouldn't think it's weird at all either. Because, like, I mean, he knows that I'm doing this. It's just, I still feel weird. So anyway, the point being is that I didn't do any video journaling over the weekend since the IKEA trip, and I had been kind of, like, I wanted to talk about that because I wanted to do that kind of update. Yeah. I actually don't remember the last time I did the video journaling. I want to say, I wonder if it was the day I made soup. Oh my goodness. Yeah, that was very early last week. I probably pretty much didn't do a video journal at all last week then. Like, I don't remember what day that was, but it's been a while. You know, probably about a week actually. Yeah, last week was definitely like it started off. I mean, despite like the wins, despite like being excited that Gianni was home, and like, you know, us getting the apartment and getting my biometrics done. Oh, which by the way, I have my permit card, which is fucking awesome. I like officially like have a little like card, not that I like, yes, I'm supposed to be here, I'm recognized by the government to be here. I don't have just this weird piece of paper that's folded up and tucked in with my passport, like it's an actual card. Gianni and I aren't sure as to whether or not I should still be carrying my passport or if the card is enough identification for, you know, whatever I might need. But I'm going to continue carrying my passport around until I find out, like, affirmatively, like, no, once you get your permit, it's okay. Even then, though, I generally, when talking to pretty much anyone about, I mean, not specifically about Switzerland, but just in general, about being in other countries that aren't your home, like, aren't your, you know, birthright citizen country. Not birthright, that's, I don't, like, Canada doesn't even have actually birthright citizen, but like, you know, yeah, the one that you have, like, official citizenship of, that, like, you shouldn't go around without ID because then that puts you into difficult situations if something happened. I definitely don't think twice about, like, going around in Canada without ID. Like, there are certainly situations where, like, you know, maybe, yeah, I won't come here with ID just in case, you know, because it's not against the law to be out without ID. But if you're immigrating somewhere and you don't have ID, it can be just awkward. I don't know. Anyway, the point being, I'm just paranoid. Not even paranoid, I don't know. Cautious. It's a good way to put it. The Swiss are very, like, particular about people following the rules and having everything that they need. Like, and, you know, it's expected that you go out and figure out what it is you need and doing it. And if, you know, ignorance is not an excuse. It's on you. It's your onus to figure out what it is you need to do and to do it as soon as possible, and to prove that you've done it as soon as possible, which definitely plays a little bit on my anxiety, because, like, I will get into, like, in some ways it's good for me, in some ways it does make me a little bit more anxious, because there's definitely times where I know I procrastinate on doing stuff. So that, like, that idea of, like, okay, like, they're going to be really unhappy that I haven't gone and done this as soon as I physically could. And that might cause me problems down the road, like filling out some paperwork and sending it back to the government office, which ironically actually happened to me because I waited to send back something. And I mean, I haven't gotten in trouble for it, I'm just saying, but it did, like, having that sit on my table for over a month, like, physically it sat on my dining room table for a month, that piece of paper just staring me down and just making me more and more anxious. And I was supposed to return it within 30 days, and it was well over the 30, not well over, but maybe 37 days, let's say a month and a week over the due date. Not a month and a week over the due date, a week over the due date. And I was just like, fuck, right? And I'm like, that just makes me more anxious, because I'm just like, I'm gonna get in trouble. So now, like, I'm just trying to use that anxiety instead of letting it get in the way of me actually finishing things, just using it to push me out the door to finish things as soon as I get it, which I don't think is a bad thing. Like, kick a little bit of that procrastination habit out of my ass. When we got the paperwork for Simba's permit, because he needs a permit to be in this building, and I got it, I want to say, I picked it up. What did I pick that up? I got it out of the mail Thursday or Friday. And I didn't, it was probably Thursday, and I didn't do it Friday, because Johnny and I were going to IKEA, and then this weekend, like, actually Sunday night, I was like, okay, I want to mail this out this morning. So I pulled it out, I signed it, and I'm like, and I just kept like, Johnny, you gotta sign this, Johnny, you gotta sign this, Johnny, you gotta sign this, put it on your laptop, you gotta sign this. And he did, and so then this first thing I did today, before I actually came here to the apartment, is I went to the post office with him, like, okay, I have to mail this, and I did. So, it was very timely for me. It didn't sit around for a week going, like, just bothering me just as an incomplete task. And I know incomplete tasks, I mean, I know just for myself, but it also has come up in, like, some psychology stuff that I've read and consumed, that, like, incomplete tasks are a really shitty thing you can do to your brain, because then it always takes up a little space in the back of your brain, just, like, always, like, don't forget, you gotta do me, don't forget, you gotta do me, don't forget, you gotta do me. And that takes away, like, precious RAM space that you could be using for like the tasks you're actually trying to focus on. And as somebody with a learning disability, specifically like dyslexia and such, RAM space is super, super important. I have shitty working memory, so if I have anything like an incomplete task distracting me, it like even just one like can start like that snowballs. Right, one incomplete task snowballs into multiple incomplete tasks because I can't focus because I got too many things. I'm just like, I gotta finish these, but like shit. So I'm kind of hoping that maybe this kind of like these little stupid things that I have to do, all this fucking paperwork that I gotta sign and send back, as much as it just drives me nuts, the amount of bureaucracy there is. As long as I keep on top of it and do it as soon as I get it, maybe that'll kind of snowball the other direction, and I will do like other tasks that I've kind of been sitting on, and I'll just do them instead of letting them sit there. I'll do them as soon as I'm like, oh, this is something I should do, or this is something I want to do, and I'll just sit down and I'll do it instead of putting it off to the side and it sits in my project bin for weeks or months or years in some cases. Because they sit there, and every time I see them, it reminds me, and it distracts me from the thing that I'm trying to work on. And as you can see, then snowballs. So maybe I try to get in front of that. I don't know. We'll see. I don't know. I say that as like I remember all the little things that I've been like working on last week. Although I feel like I made a lot of progress on a bunch of stuff. There's still like all little things that have been like they're left incomplete, and so I'm remembering them and I'm going, oh God, just distract me. Why don't you? If I can finish them, though, you won't be a distraction anymore. So let's put my brain to it and keep working on it. Right? So like I know like I've been slowly going through my clothes and repairing them. So I think I got most of my stuff. I'm sure as I go through my suitcase, I'll find more things that need to be repaired. But at the moment, the only thing I know I have left to finish is my green skirt. It's my green hippie skirt. It's just super comfy. It's super light. It's wonderful. I love it. I've fixed most of the big holes. There's just a few little holes that I want to finish up. I made really good progress on my scrapbook last week. I had well over like a year worth of little bits and pieces of stuff that I wanted to get into my scrapbook. And so of course before I moved, I had gathered everything into one spot, which was part of the problem, is that all these little bits and pieces were just kind of spread out over my room. I have gathered them all up and I put them in one spot with my book. When I pulled it out last week, I'm like, okay, spread everything out, organized it chronologically, started taping it into my book. And I know like there's a bunch of pictures that I still want to actually get printed so that I can put it and include it with those sections. So I made sure to leave space for a couple of photos. And I think it'll actually be good this way because I'm like, for this page, I'll have space for 2 photos, and then like the next event, I'll have space for 2 photos. Okay, this was a big event, so I'll leave space for like 4 or even 6 photos or whatever. And I think that will help kind of keep me focused as well, because in the past I've gone the other way, where I've picked the photos I wanted to print first, printed them, and then brought everything together in the scrapbook. And I end up printing I have so many photos, and it's almost hard to pick what I actually want to include in the scrapbook. So like and I wouldn't change what I've done for the past entries of the scrapbook. Like I think I love my England. The first one I did for England in Scotland with on the trip I was with Gianni and May, and that was wonderful. And the PEI trip, I did a huge section for the PEI trip. In retrospect, I'd probably pare it down a little bit more, but I mean, I wouldn't change it now. It's wonderful the way it is. just because, I mean, that's how I wanted to make it at the time when I was making it. And now I want to try something different, so we'll see if this works. Maybe it won't work. Maybe I'll find more pictures that I can't fit in, and I'll be very frustrated with past Ashley. We'll see. Maybe picking 2 of the best pictures from an event. Right? I mean, in theory, curating less is more. Really curating the pictures means it'll be a higher quality representation of my last year of adventures. So we'll see. Charlene still has my wedding album. Well, it's not technically an album. It's like, there's the guest book, and then the part, like, only the first little bit was actually used up as the guest book. So I wanted to use the rest of it as sort of like an album / scrapbook of the wedding and wedding preparations and all that. Okay. There is nowhere to sit in this apartment, really. So I'm literally on a yoga mat on the floor. So I'm just awkwardly, like, laying here, half laying here. Because I'm tired of actually sitting on my butt. And I'm really tired, so I'm just gonna want to lay down. But that's gonna be weird, because the front door is right there. I don't move the camera any further than that. Anyway, the door is like right when he comes in. You're just gonna see me lying on the floor sleeping and be like, why are you laying there? Not that he knows the bed's set up, but as soon as he finds out, he'll be like, what the hell are you doing? And that alone would actually be funny enough to almost be worth just doing that, just for that reaction. Because despite what it seems like, no, I'm not as ditzy as I seem. I do it sometimes because I think the reaction is hilarious. My throat is getting sore from talking, and I should have brought the bag of Ricolas with me. It's still sitting on the dining room table at the temp house, and I thought about it this morning, and I'm like, nah, I'll be fine. I was not expecting to talk for 40 plus minutes doing a video journal, although I should have maybe anticipated that. I don't know. I tried to anticipate everything today, and I think I ran out of anticipation points. There's only so many anticipation points you have, and once you run out of those, everything else is just up to chance, or whatever. I'm just making up shit now.